another Solid Gold podcast.
Hi and very good morning or good evening or good day or whatever, whenever you're listening. Obviously, you can listen to this anytime. I'm Melanie Walker in Johannesburg and I'm chatting with Jenni Baxter from SAPeople.com, sitting over in Antibes in France and looking very professional today. We're getting it all together over there in France. How are you doing today, Jen?
Hi, Mel. Well, I'm not doing well because I feel very echoey and numb with these headphones. But they've been very kindly lent to me by a young South African who's staying with us, a friend of mine from school, her son, so I'd never met him before, and he's here to work on the boats. And honestly, I was about to do a story, and I think we're still going to do it, about just, South Africans hold off, there's not enough jobs on the super yachts at the moment, because they are just getting sent here from South Africa. They're making all that money doing those courses, offering courses in South Africa, and then the kids get here and there's not enough work, especially because the Russian super yachts aren't here anymore, and they used to employ so many people. But this guy Chris, I'm so proud of him. He arrived here and he went dock walking, which is kind of illegal if you're South African, because you're not allowed to work on land in France, if you know what I mean. But anyway, he went dock walking and he got a job on the first day. So, if you try hard enough, maybe you can do it.
Well, that's exactly what I pretty much did when I was in Greece and was sitting in Mykonos and thinking, I don't know what I'm going to do because the people I'm supposed to be meeting have disappeared. And, it wasn't in Mykonos, it was down in Eos. And I happened to walk down on the dock, the little jetty thing that they've got in Eos, and saw a South African flag flying. So I went and said, how's it, Brew? And the next thing they said, listen, have you got any sailing experience? Yeah. So it wasn't on a super yacht, it was actually on a yacht. Okay.
Oh,
and I ended up spending like 3 months sailing around all the Greek islands, which was amazing. That was a very long time ago. But anyway, let's get back to things which are South African at the moment. And of course, there's been some really big news stories. Now apparently BRICS might not be happening in South Africa. It might be happening over in China because, who knows what's going on. I'm trying very much not to
because if it happened in China, then at least South Africa wouldn't be under the ICC obligation to arrest Putin. Even though they said, they're giving diplomatic immunity, it would still be very frowned upon. But it's still making an impact, this whole South Africa-Russia thing. I don't know if you saw, but the F1 is no longer pursuing Kyalami. They've canned that because of South Africa's friendship with Russia, allegedly. I don't think F1 has officially commented, but that's what the reports are saying internationally in the overseas press.
Well, it also doesn't, load shedding doesn't help. Although this last week has been quite interesting with load shedding being suspended and then reinstated and suspended and then reinstated. And we've only had like one session of load shedding a day, which is like we're sitting here and going, what's happening? Why is the power still on? It's a bit odd. But that's a good thing. But the main story, your main story today, of course, is that Karen Morm kind of has been put into a happy place. Yep, vindicated.
But because it turns out, former President Jacob Zuma took her to court because she had written about his medical records, and the court said no. They upheld freedom of the press. It's in the Constitution, and so it's a good day for not only the media but the readers that. There is a right of journalists to publish these stories, and I don't know what Zuma was thinking. And now he has to pay the costs as well.
I just don't understand what it is with the government where they think that they can run roughshod over the Constitution in so many ways. I mean, we have in the Constitution, it's enshrined there, that every citizen has the right to water, clean water, which of course has become a bit of a problem up in Gauteng, to, a decent standard of life, to education, this, that and the other, and they have delivered none of it.
Yeah.
They have just taken that constitution, which was, everybody was saying the best constitution in the world, and they're trying to change everything to their own devices. And we're sitting there and thinking, what was the point? And also, the same thing is, what is the point of us voting if the other parties think, well, we don't care what the people in the city or the town think. We're just going to do this, that, and the other, and put somebody in who didn't even stand in the last elections. I mean, it's completely bizarre. But anyway, let's not go there. But well done.
Did you see the Joburg mayor fell ill during a meeting last night?
No.
I must say, I would not want to be the Joburg mayor. They have not had a good track record at being healthy and well and alive, Remember last year, 2 of them died.
Yeah. Was it the mayors?
Last year or the year before, yes.
We have such a high turnover because of all these little factions and coalitions. And, I mean, 40% of the people in Johannesburg, that voted, actually voted for the DA. Why do we not have a DA mayor anymore? That was the will of the people. That is what voting is about. You have to uphold what the people vote for. Yeah. So they're just saying, well, the hell with that. We're going to do whatever we want anyway. So let's not get into that. Let's find something happy and smiley to do. I mean, Johannesburg is just on the skids, quite frankly, as far as I'm concerned. But, we still live in hope that somebody will come to their senses and say, actually, I shouldn't be mayor because I'm really not cut out for this job, which I think would be the right way to go.
That would be amazing.
Okay. So what news do you have for expats?
That if you're in France attending the Olympics, Geordie Smith, our South African surfer, and Sarah Baum, who is younger, newer to it, this will be her first. It's the first time they've both qualified for the Paris 2024 Olympics. It's Sarah's first time. Geordie did qualify before 2020, but he was injured, I think. So they just qualified at the ISA World Surfing Games in El Salvador. Other news for expats is, if you're going to Cape Town and you love going up Table Mountain, perhaps don't go the last 2 weeks of July, because the aerial cableway is getting fixed, and it's a really good thing. That's how they uphold these safety standards and everything. Unfortunately, it's going to be during the Netball World Cup. So,
well, if it's a netball people, they're very fit. You can go for a nice walk up. You can go up Skeleton Gorge.
Yes.
But please just don't do it when there's lots of fog around. Don't get stranded on top of the mountain. Stay to the paths. Don't fall off the side of it.
Yeah.
Take a phone. Although in Cape Town, it depends on which side of the mountain you are as to whether you can call the other side.
Did you know, apparently the aerial cableway is the second most visited spot in Cape Town by tourists, and the number one spot is it Stony Point? It's where the penguins are.
This is down by, what's it called? I keep on thinking Somerset. No, down by False Bay there. I always think
Simonstown?
Anyway, Simonstown, that's one. I knew it started with an S. Yeah.
Yeah, but this is Stony Point. So, and then Twickenham. If you are into your rugby, the tickets are selling out. 65,000 tickets have already been sold for, that last warm-up before the Rugby World Cup on the 25th of August, Springboks versus All Blacks. So that's going to be a huge match. And I think it's Jacques Nienaber's last match as head coach.
Okay.
So,
I will definitely be watching that, especially for the haka. I love the haka.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've got to tell you, what I've been doing this last week, and I know we're going to be talking about entertainment a little later, is that I decided to sit down and catch up with all of the stuff on BritBox about the Chelsea Flower Show. And because I love the Chelsea Flower Show, which was actually sponsored this year by the Newt, which is a place in Somerset, which is South African. But owned by South Africans. But then I can't understand, if they actually sponsored Chelsea, why didn't they sponsor a team to come across from Kirstenbosch to go to the Chelsea Flower Show this year?
Yeah, but then that would be almost like insider trading, maybe.
No, not really. No, they didn't have a sponsor.
Why didn't somebody else sponsor them? It would be nice. I mean, they're so good. Remember, they won like 10, 11 years in a row or something. But
golds, yeah.
But now the Newt itself, so the owners are Koos Becker, who I think is chairman of Naspers, and Karen Roos, who used to be editor of
Wasn't she with Roy Rooser?
I think it's Al.
She was, but years ago she was like Sari or with Roy Rooser or something like that as well. Yeah, she was a fashion editor,
Yeah, I do know her name. So the two of them are just like such a power couple. They're the ones who do Bobby Lauren's store.
Babylon's Tourin.
donkey in Franschhoek, and now they've just won an award for their farm in England, the project architect of the year, so the architect who they employed, for the Roman villa experience. And basically in the grounds there was this Roman remains that they excavated many, many years ago, and now they have reconstructed and reimagined it, and have won an award because it's just amazing. Just, this whole reimagined Roman times, Roman experience. Beautiful.
But it's
Well
also,
done.
like you were just saying about Babylon's Turin, and I absolutely love it. It's such an amazing place to go. And of course, one of the people who's one of my favourite gardeners that was on the Chelsea thing is Monty Don. And he did a beautiful video for Babylon's Turin. So if you've never seen Babylon's Turin, then go and check out the video with Monty Don doing it. He did around the world in 80 gardens as well, and I'm so envious. I immediately was online saying, jobs with the Royal Horticultural Society in England, and thinking, I want to go and work with Monty. Yeah, my gardening glory thing came back again. All right, so those are some of the things that are happening that expats can go and see and visit. So if you are in England, go along to the Newt.
Yeah,
it's not
for
an
sure.
inebriated Newt. That used to be a
But you
pub on the
could get
corner of my
inebriated.
house where I lived in Fulham. There was an inebriated Newt, which I always loved so much. All right, what news do you have from expats?
Trevor Noah, he posted a photograph of him and Oprah. She was at his show on Saturday night, and it was so funny how he just kind of said, this is a just in case photo, in case nobody believes it really happened. She was at his show. She loved it. She said it's the happiest Saturday night she's ever had, and she left with a laughter headache. So, and she encouraged everybody around the world, if he's coming to a place near you, go and see Trevor, because he's so observant yet brilliant and funny at the same time. So
Yeah, no, he is great.
that's just amazing. Elon Musk is again the richest man in the world. Those top three sort of shuffle around.
And I'm still waiting for him to buy me a car, whether it's electric or not.
Did you see Mr. Bean has been saying electric cars are not actually all that they are? Well, Rowan Atkinson, not Mr. Bean.
We all know who Mr. Bean is, yes.
But yeah, that electric cars are really not all they're cracked out to be. And I must say, we have a lot of electric cars here, and a lot of the owners say, they feel so bad because there's all that battery stuff that's creating havoc for kids in Africa, mining it, and it's still electricity. There in South Africa, you're saying, let's stop with electricity. And here we're saying, let's get more electric cars. So, yeah. Anyway, so Mr. Bean has jumped on that. Cape Town Airport is back to pre-COVID numbers. So in April, they had almost as many people as 2019, which is insane. Wonderful.
Good.
87% from abroad, the rest from Africa. Biggest market is the UK. And then Germany, America, Netherlands, and France.
And France.
So, yeah.
C'est bien.
We love South Africa. And then the last thing from expats is, it turns out that for definitely well over 10 years, Canada has been using rooibos to brew beer in its craft breweries. Yeah, isn't that? Apparently it gives, especially for pale ales, it gives a slightly sweeter taste. It has no tannin content, no caffeine, or low tannin content, no caffeine. So it's really good for being versatile. And one of the breweries in Canada has just launched a new one that is called Skip the Flowers. So if you're in Canada, support and drink Skip the Flowers.
Okay.
Yeah, and I saw a great article by a brewer who was saying, why aren't more South Africans doing this? It's so easy, and it's your local product.
Bush beer.
Yeah.
Make a bush beer. There you go. We've got bush tea, now we can have bush beer. I don't see why not, actually. I think that's a damn fine idea. All right. Okay, so what have we got in the way of local good news? Because, I mean, I think that you're more on top of what's happening in South Africa than I am most of the time, mainly because I don't want to leave my house.
No, not when it's cold. We did this story on this amazing busker, well, a few amazing buskers, but mainly Vanessa Solomons in Kalk Bay, who everybody who ever goes to the Brass Bell will know her, because as you go through the tunnel, she's normally there. She grew up as a child listening to the birds outside her window, and then she would whistle with them. So now she does like Simon and Garfunkel, Beatles. Yeah, she's a little better than that. And so she plays guitar and whistles along, and then it just coincidentally, one of our wonderful supporters who sends us a lot of stuff, she happened to video her this week as well, doing a special song for a South African in Canada who's missing home. So, she makes 300 Rand a day or something. Could that be possible? Yeah. And it turns out that the city of Cape Town actually has 2 programs for buskers to help them upskill, to help them even go on stage. And they have lovely, because there's some towns around the world where you're not allowed buskers, whereas in Cape Town, it's as long as you move every 45 minutes, it's kind of okay. Which I thought was really nice, yeah.
Well, I talking about buskers and things. I'm just trying to find the name of the guy that I started following this week, who's and I can't remember where. Somebody showed me, and I've closed the page, which was about this graffiti artist who does these elephants, and now his name's just gone straight out of my head, which is terrible.
And where does he do them?
He's done them all over South Africa, and he'll be traveling, and he sees a place and he goes back and he'll do these. He's done it not just in South Africa, but in India and all over the place. And I'll think of his name in a moment. Sorry, it's brain dead blonde day, and really the most beautiful things. And somebody had posted on one of our groups, we were wandering around and down in the bottom end of N Street, down in the Maboneng area, and we saw one of his elephants, and I'll send you the link to it so you can put it up on the site, because it was just really fascinating, these beautiful elephants and other animals that have been put up as well. And nice. I thought, I want to going looking for these now. Mainly a lot in Cape Town and the Eastern Cape, and a whole bunch of other things all over the place, but I'll send that to you because they were just beautiful. Nice. Beautiful.
Oh, beautiful. Did you see our story about the real elephants and lions that have been reinstated in Maboneng Game Reserve in KwaZulu-Natal? So it's 3 community trusts who have spent the last 5 years, because you can't let the lions into the area until there's enough food source for them. But this is all just so good for the ecosystem, because now they've brought in all the other animals, including endangered rhino, Now they've brought in the lions. The lions will ensure that the zebra and wildebeest populations remain healthy, because the lions hunt and kill the unhealthier ones, the sick and older ones. And then it also helps the scavengers. There've been major problems with vultures, but now the vultures will be able to have access to food more easily because of the lion kills. So apparently, being an apex predator, these lions will transform it back to how it used to be and how it's meant to be. But it's very historical and amazing, and a lot has gone into it, and well done to everybody involved there.
I found the guy's name is Falco One.
Okay.
Falco One, and he does. I'm showing Jenni a picture. Well, if she can try and see it there. So he does these artworks, and then he does the pictures. So you must put a link to it. It's a really, really beautiful story about this.
Beautiful.
But because Yeah, it's a case of like, we are so proud of what we have on our natural resources in South Africa, and I'm so glad there's so many people who are actually fighting for it. And I mean, he makes people aware of all these things by doing the animals, various animals all over the country, and it just brings more and more to people's brains.
Beautiful.
Yes. All right. So what else? Talking about being in Cape Town, of course, I know that they do those weird cold swimming things, but I prefer to just get onto a yacht and drink champagne as we go around the coastline.
Much better. But not in Cape Town. I've got one in Durban this weekend, World Oceans Day swim. So whatever's happening this weekend, just honor the ocean. But there's a young guy who everybody's got their eyes on, 17, Damien Angel, and he's hoping to win the 5 kilometer. He's off to the States in September for a surf rescue competition. So he's, one of our next up and coming swimmers to keep an eye out for. And if you want to take part in World Oceans Day, go to roag.org. and register there. It's not too late.
So when is that happening?
This weekend in Durban.
Same as Comrades as well.
10th June. I think Comrades is 11th of June.
Yeah, so it's all this weekend. Lots of big sporting things happening this weekend.
Beautiful story about the Comrades. I mean, the Comrades is just filled with lots of beautiful stories. But one of them is Graham Wells, from Maritzburg, who will be running barefoot again, and he does that to raise money for PMB Homeless Network. So he worked in England with social support and everything, and it's his dream in Maritzburg, for there to be somewhere lovely where homeless people can live in a way that works for them.
Yeah.
So,
okay. So talking about animals and swimming and things, sharks, of course, immediately come to mind.
And fear the fin.
And then rugby. Immediately we think sharks, we think about rugby. Fear the fin.
Fear the fin. And do fear the fin, because they've been doing so well, the sharks down in KZN. And about 2.5-3 weeks ago, they played against the Pumas, and they were really losing badly until those last 10 minutes. And then it was just insane how they came forward to win. And there was a photograph of one of their young fans crying. He was just so overcome with happiness and emotion at his team winning. And the Sharks posted it and said, does anybody know who this passionate fan is? And they tracked him down. His name is Kevin Forsman. And
Actually, I saw that story. Yeah, it was lovely.
Yeah, and he's from Laerskool Malelane, which is in Mpumalanga. So people were saying, what's one of the Sharks' biggest fans doing in Mpumalanga? And then it was so sweet. I felt like I was at an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting, because people were saying, I'm a Sharks fan, and I'm in Australia, and I'm a Sharks fan, and I'm in the Free State, and
I'm surprised.
They're everywhere.
If you live in Johannesburg, you need to support the Lions. That's all there is to it.
Well, we beat you. So that's what happened this weekend. This weekend, the Sharks not only tracked him down, but invited him and his family, Kevin and his family, to spend a day with the Sharks. And then he got to wear the number 24 jersey, run onto the field with them, and then sit on the bench. And we beat the Lions. And so now the Sharks are through to Currie Cup playoffs.
Okay, so just stop looking so smug. All right. I remember when Bobby Skinstad was put in as the captain of the Lions, and that must have been, mid-2000s. And he moved into a house diagonally down from the street from me, and I saw him moving in. And I stopped the car and I said, listen, you're going to be getting notes. He moved out pretty shortly there afterwards. Yeah, you don't want to be sitting.
No.
Not across the road from this blonde whose blood is green.
No. And another. Can
Yeah?
I quickly tell you about another wise man, who is Andre de Ruyter, the former CEO of Eskom.
No, he doesn't live in my street because otherwise he'd never have any power.
Oh, and it turns out he is very happily married, but he keeps his family away from the spotlight.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's a shop in Pretoria that was on the radio because somebody had targeted Andre de Ruyter's book about Eskom and run into their shop, stolen 15 copies and left, It came to about 5,000 rand. And so the woman, the shop owner was pretty devastated. And next minute she got a call that Andre de Ruyter was sending her another 15 books for free. So
Good.
That was, she said he has, made her, restored her faith in humanity. Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, he should track down the person who stole them and make him give them back too. That's not going to happen. Okay, so now the last thing on the local good news. You've got a thing here on Monday, 5 presidents. What are they going to be doing?
Oh, no. Oh, okay, I took it off my list. No, what that was about is that President Ramaphosa on Monday spoke in a virtual meeting with 5 other presidents in Africa, Uganda, Zambia, Senegal, okay? And together they have agreed that they are willing, maybe even as soon as mid-June, willing to go over and speak to President Zelensky from Ukraine and President Putin from Russia to try and negotiate a ceasefire. So an African initiative to try and bring some world peace because, the repercussions on all of us all around the world are huge. It's, you walk into your grocery shop every day and we're all feeling the effects, let alone the horror of it. And
apart from that, it just means that other countries and other people think, oh, well, if he can walk in and try and take over Ukraine, like, why shouldn't China walk in and take over South Korea? It just opens those floodgates for people to do whatever they want, and there has to be some accountability. So hopefully the rest of the world's presidents will actually speak to these people and say, enough, stop this. It's not just about you. Yeah? Oi, gewalt, I tell you what. All right, let's get on to stuff that's more entertaining than war. Okay.
Yes.
I must say that...
Yeah,
okay, so obviously I've been hooked into watching Chelsea, but I see that Avatar, the new Avatar, has just come up on Netflix. And my daughter was watching it and she came through and she says, I have to take a break from this. It's like so long and it's so hectic, Mom.
Really?
Yeah, so I'm kind of gearing myself up for a little bit of that sometime this weekend.
That is the advantage of TV, isn't it? Like, it's a bit sad that you're not seeing it on such a huge screen, but at least you can press pause, which you can't in a movie house. Yeah, and also I saw Arnold is on Netflix, and I think South Africans love Arnold, and he loves South Africa.
Arnold?
So Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's a documentary.
Schwarzenegger.
It's a
not Arnold
about
Vosloo.
him. No, not your ex. And then I also wanted to make a retraction. Remember, I said, you should try watch Young, Famous and African because you get to see Johannesburg and da-da-da. Oh, my goodness, I kept falling asleep while I was watching, so I thought it was okay. And I stayed awake.
Yeah.
And honestly, the conversation was so... a 6-year-old conversation, except also kind of sexual and gross, and also very acted. When you watch these other ones, you feel like you're a fly on the wall, whereas with this, it felt very choreographed.
Okay, so it's one to stick away from.
Yes. I apologize for ever recommending it.
Okay, well, I didn't get around to having a look anyway, so it's fine. Okay, what else is there that I'm looking for something new now that I'm finished with Chelsea? So what apart from Avatar should I be looking out for?
I think that you will love Down, A Comrade Story, because obviously you should be watching it right now because it's about the comrades and it's about 100 years of it. So that is on Showmax, and then also on Showmax there's Binnenlanders for anybody overseas who's missing South Africa. Season 12 is ready to binge from today, 8th of June. There then coming soon, very exciting, is Shaka Ilembe, and it's about the legendary Zulu king, which, as you know, I grew up with all those legends around me, Shaka's Kraal, Shaka's Rock, so Shaka's Head. I can't wait. Apparently, it's been filmed in an epic way, let alone being an epic story. And while it's for the locals, it will go global. And it's historical, and it respects the tribe and everything, but at the same time, of course, it's been fictionalized.
Well, I started in the television industry at the time when Bill Forer was doing Shaka Zulu with Henry Kele, which was also great. So, I mean, they just finished shooting when I joined the SABC, and they were busy doing the editing, and it was just phenomenal because we got to go on, like when they were doing the pickup sets and going to the editing process and everything. It was like really an exciting time. So
and
it's a great story as well.
That's also on... So this new one, Shaka Ilembe, is coming up 18th June on Showmax. But I think you can still watch the old Shaka. It might be Netflix. I know it's on one of the many streaming platforms.
Okay.
So,
Excelente. So I will be checking that out. And then, of course, there's also on the... What is today?
The
I don't even know
8th.
what today is. Thursday the 8th. So that's on Saturday, The Woman King. Which was shot in South Africa and Ghana with Viola Davis, is also starting up again. Yay!
Yes.
It's very, very good. I did watch some of that. Okay, well, we're getting to that stage where we have to think about hurrying on out of these studios. So what have you got coming up as your lead story for next week?
About a South African actor who's gone through what thousands of South Africans around the world have gone through. A guy in Hollywood who, even though he was getting help from the embassy, has lost his South African citizenship.
It's
The
absolutely bizarre.
advice was not the best advice. So so we're doing a story on that.
Yeah, so we should try and find out because I know we mentioned last week what the update is about what's happening with that whole thing
we'll
about
be
people
adding
losing
that
their
to the
citizenship.
story.
All right,
Yeah.
great. Well, there we have it. Ladies and gentlemen, please start your engines and get out there and go and find out all these wonderful things that South Africans have to offer, whether it's here in South Africa or overseas. And if you happen to be in the neighborhood of Cannes or the Saint-Tropez down on the south coast of France, then keep an eye out for Jenni as she runs around the place looking for her pan and café. Jen, we'll catch up with you again next week. And don't forget, of course, you've got some great stories. Send them through to Jenni either on SAPeople.com or on the Facebook page. And we'll catch up with you then. Au revoir.
Thanks, Mel. Bye.
Another production from Solid Gold Podcasts.